think it's working. If this is the first time kind of setting it up in my new studio here, so if you can hear me, let me know. If you can hear me, let me know in the comments. Kind of impromptu live stream. I've got a kind of just trying a few new things here on the channel. One being, I'm going to try and share a bit of some of my photo editing, basically photo editing tips and tricks on the iPad. Someone had asked me the other day how I edit most of my photos, and most of them I do very little editing. And we've got a few people joining. Hey, Christine, welcome. You're driving. Yeah, watch later. Don't listen to, we're doing just some quick photo editing here. More of a tryout here, Christine. See how it works. More of the setup of everything. But because a few people have asked how I edit my photos, and I don't do a lot. I actually don't do a lot of extra editing on the photos. So I figured I'd show everybody kind of how I do it and how I store my photos. And it's mostly done on my mobile phone, partly because the computer that I use is pretty old and it's not the greatest for any kind of like video or photo stuff. And I find it does just as good a job now with Lightroom on your mobile phone or the iPad. So what I have downloaded is Lightroom. It's the Lightroom CC, and I have the paid pro version of it. It's a monthly subscription. Everybody's driving today. Hey, Storm, welcome. Haven't done a live for a while, not scheduled. So yeah, by all means, check in later. It's okay. Testing things out. Adobe Lightroom CC, the version is paid, so it's a subscription version. But with that, you actually get a subscription to have basically cloud storage for your photos. So it's a great way to back up a lot of your photos that you want to have backed up at the same time. So with that subscription, you get a certain amount of space, which is super handy. And the great thing about that is with the Lightroom, this version of CC and the subscription, if you upload a photo onto your computer desk storage, because the photos are all stored in the cloud, it will show up on your phone, it will show up on your iPad, and any edits that you do will all kind of sync across all of your devices. So it's kind of handy to back everything up and then be able to edit stuff on the go with your phone, or in this case, we're going to do it with the iPad. So basically, let's just do a quick run through. And if anybody has any questions, stop me. We're not kind of scripting anything. So by all means, just put a comment in the chat and I'll try and answer it. I'm not like a super pro with Lightroom, but I'll show you some kind of quick tips on how to kind of make your photos look a little bit better. For instance, a lot of my stuff I just kind of share on Instagram. So let's show that. There we go. So this should work with the iPad, and we do. There we go. So on your screen, I believe you're going to see it is actually, I think, reversed, but I think when you're seeing, I'm seeing it reversed, so maybe you're not, who knows. But one thing with what I've noticed is when we have this going is the screen resolution is a little bit stretched, I think, for some reason in the live stream. So that might kind of make the photos look a little bit off, but we'll get the gist of it. So when you go on into Lightroom here, you have all of your photos. I've got a whole ton of photos. It all saves them into your library here. So I've got 10,000 I've uploaded. By all means, you might not have that many, you might have more. I just kind of, what I do is everything will go into the all photos library, but then what I do you can actually create different albums on the side here. So I've got different albums of different trips and stuff that I've done. And what I've kind of started doing a little bit is I kind of have started to do month by month. So I've got some pictures, like if I'm walking around in October, I've got some October pictures. These are all just random. A lot of these I haven't even, no one's even seen. A lot of these don't even see the light of day. I just kind of upload everything and then go through them later. So it's a great way to kind of organize your photos with everything. And it's a great way to go back and remember where, places you've been and things you've seen. So what kind of got me thinking about doing this and sharing is one of these photos just from like past trips. I guess, have kind of shown up. And there's a few photos here that I haven't updated. And this was there's a couple from the summer that I took. Trip to, obviously the glaciers, not in Alberta here, but that was a cruise last summer. And I got another one from into Banff, so Banff Lake Louise. So basically, what I'll do is I will upload all of my pictures up into the cloud. They all sync, and then I'll go through and kind of pick some of my favorites, and then I will edit them. So a lot of times they don't need a lot of editing. But what I find with Adobe, now let me see if I can. It might work better. No, it's probably better that way. Okay, perfect. So this is actually in Glacier Bay. I'll make it a full screen so you can kind of see. This was taken off the cruise ship last summer. But one thing I kind of notice, this is how I kind of start and do my edits, is first thing is there's different profiles. You'll see them on the right-hand side in the menu. You can almost kind of go down. You'll see here it says Edit Auto, then Browse, then there's the different light, color effects, Detail, Optics, Geometry. And you can kind of basically go down in order on how to adjust your images. This one looks okay kind of already, but I do like what you get to know is there's different profiles with Adobe Lightroom, and some of these will come through matching from your camera. So what this does is takes the raw image and brings it into your Lightroom to edit it. And what a raw image is, over top of it, like a camera will have a setting where you can take a raw image or a JPEG, or a lot of times you'll take both, and it will the JPEG image will already be kind of, I guess, corrected or fixed. It doesn't have as much information, so it's not as large of a file. Whereas the raw photo will takes basically, the sensor of your camera takes a lot more of the information of that of your picture, so you can edit it later with a lot more. It's a lot more, lets you do a lot more things with the light and everything else and the colors, because it's taking all that like raw data, and the file size is, comparing a raw image to a JPEG, a raw image is roughly maybe 30, 40 megabytes, whereas like a JPEG image will be 4 or 5. So there's just lots more information there to adjust. So have the camera matching, but then Adobe actually has a lot of kind of think of these as filters, really, like in Instagram, you would have your filters. So there's some artistic ones. There's obviously some black and white ones. There's a bunch that come in already kind of standard, some vintage ones. So if we're adding these filters, for example, some of the ones that I do like, this is the regular Adobe Color, but if we switch it to landscape, and you can see the change there, it brings the blues in the ice a little bit out a bit better, and you can actually see the difference. We go back and forth of the two. So I do kind of like the landscape Adobe one. So I'll select that on that, and we'll go back, and there's a button up here on the top that says Edit, is for Auto, and Auto will just adjust the colors. Basically uses like AI, machine learning, to basically use its intelligence to correct all the colors. And that's that there. But one thing I do notice, and if you zoom in a little bit here, I'm notorious for this. There's a level in the camera when I take a picture, but I'm notorious for having my horizons always a little bit off. And I can notice that a little bit here. And that it doesn't show up as much on this photo, but if there's a picture of like a beach with sun, you would definitely notice that you have a crooked horizon. And there's nothing worse than a crooked horizon in a picture. It's just how I take the pictures. It always seems to be off a little bit. So I always like to go in and check that, and you can check that with on the right hand side with the crop. And there's actually a auto one on the right. If you do straighten, it will adjust it. And it's done it a little bit. And if you have to do it yourself, you can just tap and then adjust and then line it up yourself. I sometimes find it's fairly accurate, but sometimes you have to adjust it just a little bit more. And there we go. So you'll lose a bit in the crop, but that kind of shows that it's now a straightened horizon. That's kind of most of what I do. There is a section here in optics for the lens correction, so I do apply that adjusts for my DSLR for the corrections in the lens. The The rest are basically things that you may want to adjust picture by picture. And this is where you can get really deep into the settings of Lightroom. And we'll maybe do this in some of the other ones. If people have questions, let me know. But a lot of times I find the auto just seems to work, just especially if you're just sharing it on Instagram. But you can go in now and you can adjust, like you can get right in there and adjust you can adjust the exposure down. You can bring the exposure up, like obviously way up, and it's always pure white. But if you want to go back, you can just double tap and it brings you back to where basically your auto setting was set. I don't touch that a lot. You can always adjust the colors if you wish. The colors a bit more with if you want to cool down the photo, you can bring the colors down. You can see it adjusting obviously to blue there. We'll bring that back to where it was. But you can obviously warm up there as well with the temperature. So you can really change your photos and how they look here in Lightroom. Let's leave it blue. I like the blue of the ice. It looked like this in real life. It's pretty crazy. Another one that is kind of good to adjust, and let's go into it's the Vibrance and Saturation. The next two down here. These will really bring out the colors. I don't put a lot of saturation in my photos. I kind of leave it to where it is. You'll notice that more like some photos if you're looking at Lightroom, and that is if you have the like really overly saturated. I don't think it looks too good. I think one thing with editing is you almost want to like less is more a lot of the times. So you can kind of, if you think you have an edit on a photo, it looks and you like it, scale. It's almost kind of like scale it back a little bit. It always seems to think less is definitely more. So that's that one done. Now another thing you can kind of go into, there is also some presets with Lightroom. There is some color creative and black and white presets. I don't touch these really a lot. There's some kind of neat ones that you can kind of play with. These will overwrite kind of everything on your image though. So any of the adjustments we've done just up to this point, these will kind of get changed a little bit with these presets. There is a few you can actually, you may have seen online like advertisements for different presets, and what they are is people build these kind of like color and edit presets. So it's basically like a one click and it will adjust your photo, which is kind of handy. Get some coffee there. It is kind of handy, especially if you're looking to go for a certain look. Sometimes you'll see a lot of people like on Instagram, when you see someone's photos, they all have kind of that same tone or look. A lot of times they're using a preset. The one that I kind of go into for a preset, I do a little bit of vignetting. Vignetting kind of brings you'll see it here if we do, it kind of just brings a little bit of darkness on the edges, kind of brings your eye to the center of the picture, but not too much. I kind of just I usually add a little bit of that. That's a bit of drama to the photo, and that's kind of the main thing I do with presets. There's a couple that I have actually bought to play around with. There is this one I really like. We can get into presets maybe a bit more in depth in a different video if people are interested, but there is a old film stock called Kodachrome. It was an old slide film, and there's a neat preset pack of all the different types of Kodachromes, and there's probably 100 different things here, but basically what this does is it adjusts it to basically like mimic what it would look like as the film. And there's some neat ones. There's some neat kind of like some like old, basically old stock, so 1935, and it's just a filter basically. So if it's not all my thing or for all these pictures, but kind of an option. We'll do maybe a preset live stream or two. But if you want to go back on the top right hand side, there's a back button. We'll just undo and apply. And that's the one kind of neat thing about Lightroom is you can always kind of go back if you've adjusted something. You can always step it back, and on the bottom here you can basically reset like each individual adjustment you've done. You can reset all of them, and you can go right back to even where you imported your photo. So you can't really go wrong. So if you think you've screwed your image up, you can't screw it up. You can always go back right to the beginning if you had to. So we'll take a look. Let's see how this was from before. So we can go here now and look before, and if we just tap and hold before and then that's after. So I think it kind of just brightened it up a little bit, ready to kind of share. Let's do another one here. This is another iceberg. This is in Glacier Bay in Alaska. So we'll just go back to the beginning. We'll change the profile. Let's do, I'll show you here one of these presets. These are the settings. So let's do, I like the one that is for the profile. I do like the landscape profile. And I hit the auto, which kind of works nice. Now this horizon, we can kind of look at the ocean there, and it's actually pretty straight, which is nice for once. But let's go down to, we'll take off the corrections are there. We'll make sure it's straight. Just hit the straighten. So it's straightened a little bit. We can adjust it here as well. If we adjust it that way, we can see the lines show up. So yeah, it does a pretty good job. Done. And let's go to one of these. Let's find one of these presets that we might like here, just to give us a really quick start. I do kind of like the bit of vignetting, so let's put that on there. That's a bit too much, but a light one is okay. So we'll hit done. And the top with this one with the trees, I think we could probably bring the green. No, that's not bad, but we'll bring the green up. So there actually is, if we go to here to the selective edits, we'll hit plus, and this brings on like if you drag and drop it, and it's only going to really adjust where that red part is. You see that? And from there we can adjust the exposure up a little bit, just to brighten it up a little bit. And I want to bring the color. Let's get it a little bit green, like so. Now the best part is we can once we can go before and after. We can kind of see there. There we are. So done. So pretty simple, as you can see. Quite a big change for your photos, but looks good. Now with this one, because this is a vertical picture, I'm going to share this one on Instagram. But the issue, the aspect ratio for Instagram is 4:5. So we do have to crop it. That's a good thing and a bad thing sometimes, depending. But let's get this cropped. So we have to lose a little bit of it, and then get done. And then we've cropped the photo, and it's ready to share on Instagram. The best thing about this then is now all the edits are all synced, and when I go onto my mobile phone, that this edited image will actually show up onto my Lightroom on my phone, and I can easily share it onto Instagram. So keep an eye out. I may put this one on later. This is a good one here on the show, because this one is quite dark, and this is the auto edits are actually going to do a pretty good job on this one. So this is Lake Louise in Banff from this summer, right by the Chateau Lake Louise. Do the mountains and the Rockies. Let's change it here. Let's do the landscape. So there's kind of once you kind of get a process, you can get it done super quick. I think auto is going to do a pretty good job, and as you can see right there, does a great job bringing out the colors in the lake. We'll bring it back so you can go back and forth. See, there we go. Really brings out the in the side there. You can see the green. Just makes it pop. So just that little bit of editing your images makes it that much better. So you don't have to do a ton of editing to do this. This isn't the greatest picture, but it was. I like this one to show because it shows how it just makes the water and the greens and stuff pop. We are going to have to crop this one, because this would be a good one for Instagram too. But let's go in here. And I always kind of do a little bit of vignetting, just because it brings your eye right to the middle so we can see the lake nice. And let's crop this one. This one's going to be for Instagram too, so 4:5. So as you can see, it changes quite a bit here. So it's just a matter of adjusting. Now, what you can see, hopefully you can see it. You might not be able to see it too well. If you zoom in, you can. But if you see basically the grid is done into threes, nine, so rule of thirds. And we want to try and kind of line up the canoes we're going to keep that in the thirds, and that way the mountains are kind of just, there we go. So that I think looks a lot better. Let's get it edited. There we go. You can see the whole thing. And so there's before and there's after. Now, if we want to adjust the sky a little bit, this is where we would do our selective edits again. And we can slide down. So we want to bring if we want to get the sky, maybe bring the sky. So you can see how it's making it blue. You don't want to do too, you don't want to do too much though, because then it starts to kind of look, it doesn't look quite right. We're going to add a little bit just to bring the sky color up. And let's go back. You can see here before and after. Yes, we like that. Let's put the saturation up a little bit because it's nice kind of bright blue. And this will just adjust the saturation in the section that we have in the red part there. So that's done. If we want to bring up the saturation in the whole, the vibrance or saturation in the whole image, we would go down to, on the right-hand side, to the color, and then we want to turn up the vibrance a little bit and the saturation. That'll really kind of bring out it's neat, the red of the canoe. There we go. So before and after there. So quite a big difference. I think that will, oops, there we go. And after. So that one is done. And that will save in the cloud. This is kind of, this one maybe be the last one. If anybody's got any questions, we do have a couple people watching. I know Norman was, I think, probably still driving, and Christine's maybe still driving, but if anybody has any questions, let me know. And this is the last one. This is, oh geez, I can't remember. This is, oh, where the heck was this? This was on the cruise. This is Alert Bay. That's what it was. And I kind of like these houses on stilts. It's a hotel, and it's a small little fishing village. But what I wanted to do with this one is really kind of crop this in so we can share it and just have a more close up. So let's go back. Let's do, there we go. This will bring, I wanted to really show the red and the blue of those pictures. And we'll do the auto, and you can see it really pops from before. It's crazy, to after. So this 2 seconds, 20 seconds on a photo, and it's already looking better. Let's do our crop. And what we want to do, this is a vertical one, but we want to change we're going to share this on mostly on Instagram. So we're going to do that, but we're going to change the rotation of it, which is the rotation button here. So this will bring us on to do it for Instagram. There we go. And we'll just hit done. And that will, I can almost zoom it in a bit more. So if we want to crop it in a bit more, I don't want to cut off that blue house though on the left. So I think that is pretty good. And we want to get the lined up of the ocean right about there, and done. So that is Alert Bay. And you can see before and after quite a change. Just the colors popping. And these are just kind of auto settings on Lightroom CC. So yeah, that's, I think, let's do a little bit of the selective. These are a bit optional. Let's do the selective edit again, just for the little bit of sky up there. And we're gonna brighten it. Bring it down a little bit there. Perfect. So then you can see we've done. So before, and there's after. So there we go. Oh, Paul's here. And oh, Paul must not be an iPad user. Hey, Paul, welcome. Just kind of playing around, editing some photos on the Lightroom. More so testing up a little bit of setup, or we'll do some more live stuff with the Apple. I think if you missed the beginning, Paul I do most of my, I think I would say 95% of my editing on like my phone or on the iPad in Lightroom CC. So we're just kind of doing one here. Actually, believe it or not, this picture is like, this picture is like right out of the camera. And this one was taken with, you can show info here. This was my Sony, reach around this one. This is a Sony mirrorless back in the summer. And it's like, it was taken in the morning. The water was so still. And this is like, there's like no editing on this picture at all, which is kind of crazy because there really doesn't need to be a lot done with it, which is kind of rare. But let's go in anyways and just put my quick edits in here. This wasn't even a really long, this wasn't even a really long exposure. This is how still the water was in the morning. This was taken at about like 6:30 a.m. It was early, so there wasn't any wind or anything yet. But so there we go. There's the auto, but you can see it's like a mirror. Let's put in a little bit of our vignette, because I do like that, just a little bit. There we go, maybe a bit more, done. Now, I grabbed this one, maybe this was the wrong, there it is. So you might not be able to see this on the screen, but basically right in the middle of the sky here, I had a little spot on my camera, and I don't know if you can probably see that, but there is a little spot that I had a bit of dust on my camera. So what I wanted to show with this one is how Lightroom can remove this. So there's a little round circle. If you're looking at your picture long enough, you'll notice it. If someone's looking at it like on Instagram or something, they're never going to see it. But it's one of those things where if you see it, you're always going to see it. So there's the heel brush here is the little Band-Aid, and what we want to do is clone. And we just basically, we have the size. This gives you the size of the brush, and we just tap it right there. And basically what it does is it takes a spot from basically a similar color, blends it all in, and then it's gone. So it is all gone. That's also a good way to remove, for example, like sticks and stuff like that out of your images if they're in the water. Let me see if I can find one that I took out a stick. That's kind of the hard part, is finding these pictures sometimes after, whereas we can actually go in here. Let's just do a search for lake. Oh, the lake, yeah, so and Paul, yeah, so the JPEGs on the Fuji are great. You really have to do like literally like zero editing. It's crazy how good they are. I'll pull one up because I've got a couple on there. Let me find, we'll do the lake. I have one, sorry, it's not in this, it's in, I'll show some JPEGs, yeah. Oh, I might not have put it in that folder. That's why. Let's put it in search all photos. This is what's handy with Lightroom too, is you can search by topic, and then you can find things that you don't know, because you have so many thousands of pictures. You can literally like just search for things. It's super handy. I think here we go. Here's one. This is a lake. This is out in, this was taken. So this is make sure this is a JPEG. Yes, it's a JPEG. So Paul, yeah, this was taken in one of the national parks. This is a Fuji JPEG. Yeah, it's pretty crazy. So really there's nothing to do with this photo. It's pretty crazy. The only thing I kind of like to do, I think you've been watching a little bit, Paul, I do like to put a little bit of vignetting in on my photos, just because it's just something I always kind of do. So that's something maybe the only thing I will add to a JPEG here, is something like that. But you can see like the JPEGs are great from right from the camera. So this is The only thing I don't think it necessarily tells me, if it tells me, Paul, it doesn't say what the film simulation I used with this. I think this, I'd have to look at the, I'd have to go back and kind of double check. I can't really remember. So if this is, so this is the same image, Paul, as the same image, but as the raw photo. So let's just see here. Let's color match and see camera. I think it was Astia, if I remember correctly. Probably that one. The one I really like though for these like landscape ones is the Velvia, which is pretty cool. But you don't really need. It's crazy how you actually don't need to do a heck of a lot with the Fuji images. Straighten probably because I'm always a little bit off my horizons for some reason, even with using the horizon thing on my thing. But yeah, there we go. This is one of my favorite. This was a really neat spot. Waterton Lakes. That's an old hotel, kind of on the edge of the lake there. You can see in behind there was a big forest fire a couple of years ago, so it's just starting to grow back. But that's been there. It's right by really close to the U.S. border too, as well. So Waterton Lakes. Oh, Nadia's here. Yeah, hey Nadia, you kind of missed all the stuff. We were just going through some photos, and Paul from the UK dropped in for a little bit, and we're kind of done. We're just doing some quick edits on some of the photos on Lightroom, but yeah, that was it. We're gonna probably do some more as I get used to it. I got a new kind of adapter and stuff to be able to share. So maybe do some more like in-depth stuff but Nadia, yeah. So you missed it. Unfortunately, Nadia, you can go back, catch the replay. We'll do more. It was kind of impromptu live stream. We've got, as you can see from my most recent pictures here, we've got snow in the city. So there's some pictures that there'll be some snow images coming up. A lot of these are like images that you're seeing here that never see the light of day. You always seem to post the ones that very few on an Instagram, but I take tons, and it's just a matter of going through, and eventually so as you can see, the light, it changed pretty quick. That was like a week prior. And now we've got the same spot out there. We've definitely got snow at the bridge. That's it. Yeah, Nadia, you know what it does when you have so many pictures. Yeah, it's just fun. You don't need to share them all, but you just kind of save them and go through. This one I was looking. This is a funny story. I'll leave it at this one. This is a bridge obviously down by the river here, and the sun was like hitting the bridge on the spot, like right in the middle there, and it was perfect in the morning. And I was waiting for someone to walk by in order to get a picture of somebody walking or biking or something across the bridge. And I waited there for like 10 minutes, and like nobody was walking. There was lots of people, but like nobody was walking along the bridge. And then I thought, well, forget it. I'm going to keep walking. And I walked a bit further, and then I found out the bridge is actually closed. So I was waiting for nothing because they were doing repairs on it. So I'll have to go back. That's why I kind of save these ones that aren't necessarily the greatest picture, but I save them. Oh, I got the bird. I save them to kind of remember spots to go back to. So if they don't turn out great, or if you think you have an area where you might want to come back again to and visit again, you go back to these places and kind of see if you can find something different. So there we go. Let's go back to that. We'll do the the bridge. I know. So the bridge story. Yeah, that's well, obviously, Paul, you take pictures. You know, you do photography. You always kind of know. There's always somewhere better or something better you're thinking of, or you wish something was a certain way, or it's very rare to like the picture that's like, you know, perfect. You got to be kind of the right place at the right time. perfect example. We'll leave one more example. I had some good pictures in the summer. Let me find it here. And I was out at one of the parks, and at night, and it was this one. So I was literally walking back to the car because the sun was starting to go down, and then there was like the deer was like literally right there, and then in the background is the in the darkness it's like the Calgary, the skyline and stuff. So that was kind of my picture that kind of worked out. But then it would never happen again, so that's always kind of make this one a postcard. Yeah, I could do that as a postcard. There's so many, Nadia, that I could do as there's so many that I could do as postcards, but there will be. Yeah, so thanks everybody for tuning in. I will do more postcards. That was kind of fun to do. And I will get more. I have to print more. I have to pick a new one. Maybe I'll do kind of a poll. Well, it's always kind of fun to be a surprise. So we'll see. I'll do a winter one for that. I don't have the horn's not hooked up. I'm just doing it right from YouTube, Nadia. The horn would be good. We'll get the horn. We'll get the horn set up maybe for super chat horns. Yeah. But not. Oh, Lucia asked for the horn. Next time, maybe next time. So that's it. Thanks for watching. Well, it's kind of fun to do. Hopefully we'll do if anybody has questions on Lightroom, we'll maybe dive into. It's always kind of fun to learn these new things as we go too, but we'll maybe dive into some of the like more in-depth settings. But like I said, with my photos, I don't do a ton of editing on it, over editing. And especially with using the Fuji camera now, the pictures are so great out of the camera, you really don't have to do a lot. So there we go. And I gotta make this, I gotta get new glasses because it seems like it's so far away. So there we go, new live stream. Hopefully you liked it. We'll sign off. We've been going for 40 minutes here, so hopefully you enjoyed it. If you have questions on Lightroom, let me know down in the comments. I'd be happy to answer them after the show if you're watching this. If you're not subscribed, I think a couple people watching here are subscribed, so that's awesome. I appreciate it. We just passed like 2,000 subscribers on the channel, which is pretty cool. The little channel that could. And we'll see you on the next live stream. We'll be doing more. They're kind of fun. Nice to, after we go outside, we'll take pictures and then come back and do some quick editing. So, and happy cruising. So hi, hello. You unfortunately missed the live stream editing, but go back and check out some of the from the beginning. If you have questions, let me know. So we'll leave it off. Thanks everybody. Thanks Paul. Thanks Nadia. Thanks Norm was here. Christine was here at the very beginning. So thanks for joining everybody. We'll see you on the next one. Happy cruising. Check out the channel. If you have questions, let me know. So thanks guys. Bye.